Welcome to the Inc. Productivity Tip of the Day. Today's tip: how to make the time that it takes to get things done. Queen Elizabeth I of England probably didn't say, "All my possessions for a moment of time," the deathbed quote popularly attributed to her. Yet that doesn't make the sentiment any less important, especially today when it's abundantly clear that time for most of us is far more important than money. Being rich is having money. Being wealthy is having time and spending it the way you want. We live in a hurry-up world where access, speed, and convenience are the most critical competitive vectors for virtually every business. Providing immediate access, rapid responses, and ease of use are the baseline deliverables for any product or service vendor if you want to succeed. But the Queen, who died in 1603 at age 70, wasn't talking about trading her worldly goods for a faster Amazon delivery. She was looking for a life extension, and the quote actually refers to a different aspect of the relationship between time and money, which is also something we're all confronting on a daily basis, especially as we become more senior and older in our organizations. While you may know exactly how much money you have, you never know how much time you have left. And if you waste money, you can always make it back if you're lucky and hardworking. If you waste time, it's gone forever. Most of us want to try to make a difference in our lives and others while we're here. We don't want to waste our time doing or trying to fix things that won't matter in the long run. We don't want our lives controlled or driven by an overstuffed inbox, or by a reactive and constant focus on urgent matters rather than the important ones that surround us. It's way too easy to fall into the trap of nonstop activity, in the belief that activity is a proxy for productivity when, in fact, it's as often simply a performative masquerade that's not even useful. Busyness isn't the same as business. If you allowed it, per Parkinson's law, busy work and other wastes of time can easily expand to fill your days with lots of nothing of value. Today, we're all struggling with the best ways, personally and in our businesses, to handle the overwhelming flow of information, obligations, competing demands, and conflicting priorities. We've got plenty of clocks, but never enough time. And the trick isn't to throw up our hands in frustration. It's to roll up our sleeves and figure out how to make sense of the mess we find ourselves in, because how we spend our days determines how we spend our lives. Here are 4 keys to coping with the clutter, noise, and crap streaming over the transom every day. You don't save time by hurrying. Take a moment and take a breath. Tell your team to take their time. Control your calendar so you're driving the bus rather than dodging inbound traffic and reacting to other people's desires, requests, and demands. Filter the flow of emails, information, and materials that end up in front of you. Admit that you can't do it all, read it all, or reply to everyone. Pick a few prime and trusted sources of input and make a point to review them daily. Bag the clickbait and the rest of the junk. The real key is to learn to be there in the moment, to focus on the matter at hand, and to concentrate deeply for an appropriate and uninterrupted period of time. Learning how to ignore distractions, sit still quietly, and get into the flow is a huge advantage. But it takes practice, like yoga or meditation, to avoid getting twitchy, becoming impatient, or FOMO'd, or letting your mind drift to the other things you also need to be attending to. Get the thing you're doing done well, and then move on. There's always enough time to do the important things. When you say that you don't have the time to do something, what you're really saying is that it's not a priority for you. We make time for what we're interested in. If a task is something that's truly important and the desire to address it is also present, you'd be amazed at how the required time to take care of it magically appears. This is not really about the time anyway. This is about getting your priorities in order. If you honestly want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Waiting for the perfect time is simply a flawed justification for procrastination. It also makes no sense to decide to do nothing because you claim you can't do it all. Not everything happens overnight, but nothing happens if you don't get started. Excuses will always be there for you. Opportunities won't. Spend more time learning and thinking and less time running and gunning. In our impatient times, startups are all too quick to adopt the ready, fire, aim mindset. But even Mark Zuckerberg, the author of the famous Move Fast and Break Things operating credo at Facebook, has taken a step back and admitted that a more mature, realistic, and practical formulation is to move fast with stable infrastructure. Speed and execution can certainly save you time if you're headed in the right direction. And everyone loves to think of themselves as an aggressive first mover. But a little patience and a commitment to invest in a secure and stable operating environment, or to invest your time in building a knowledge advantage, is a better bet in the long run than simply running and gunning. This isn't an easy sell to a bunch of over-caffeinated type A young entrepreneurs, because it feels somewhat passive and less aggressive to be spending time reading, learning, and implementing the critical knowledge that's requisite to making smart choices and decisions further down the line. But it's the smart way to proceed. If you don't care where you end up, any path will take you there. But if you want to succeed, you need a vision, the required knowledge and resources, and a plan to turn that dream into a reality. Spending a little more time up front to figure out where you're going, how, and why will help successfully differentiate your business from the competition. If you don't have the time to do it right, when will you have the time to do it over? Another temptation in the frenzy of starting a new business is the appeal of trying to do things cheaply, so you can flood the zone and cover the waterfront, when you shouldn't try to do them at all. Sometimes it's mainly a matter of nerves and the desire to keep moving and do something. What you're really doing with partial, piecemeal, and half-hearted efforts is wasting precious time to get you through the day. As the famed football coach Lou Holtz said, if you're killing time, it's not murder, it's suicide. That's also true for you and your business. Figure out the tasks that matter, go deep into them, and don't quit halfway. You'll find that it's the time, energy, passion, and commitment that you devote to these matters that gives them the most meaning and the most value. Bottom line, the regret that we feel about things we did will, over time, be softened, memory hold, and tempered. We don't always get over some things, but we get through them eventually. Sadly, it's the things that we never found the time to do, or even attempt to accomplish, that we'll regret forever and at all times. That's it from Inc. You can find more expert opinions and advice from today's business and thought leaders at Inc.com. And come back tomorrow for another tip from Inc.